Humans have errors. We are not perfectly designed. You only have cancer to show you that. In pursuit of pleasure, we can override the origin of consciousness itself. Another explanation, one I hope to explore, is that we act against our source code in an attempt to begin a new one. Transcending, the spiritualists call it, to leave the shell and become part of the ethereal that may exist beyond human consciousness. This we have little proof of, and it may very well be a misjudgment on behalf of the human. We often integrate fairy tales into reality, making it more palatable. I'm not buying it. It's too many holes. This theory of yours places us at square one. What progress has this place made under such a redundant hypothesis? Good and evil? The product of monitored pleasures. Money? Capital is earned in exchange for the pleasures of society. Procreation. An activity based on pleasure. Sex without procreation. Pleasure without the consequences of feeding into overpopulation. Transportation. Reduce the suffering of journeys, making movement more pleasurable. How do you train a dog? The promise of pleasure, such as positive affirmation or treats. How do you train a human to be a productive member of society? Instill the idea of honor. A pleasure in abiding by the rules of honest living, achievement, success, and indulgence, both physical and mental. Why does power corrupt? Pleasures access that are off limits to those who do not possess them. This is the root of consciousness, the one that precedes the zero. We are born through masturbation, one becoming two, pleasure becoming pleasures. I had much pleasure watching that fight. The subject had pleasure in tearing the pregnant lady apart before this. The chimpanzee had a violent pleasure in tearing him apart. We reproduced a sense of pure consciousness around this room. The data gathered from their brains will only further cement this simple and grim fact of life. We exist to serve ourselves. The religious only do good to be in their deity's favor. Every selfless act is merely the byproduct of a dissociative vicarious state, like a parent that takes pride in their child's achievements. George shakes his head and clasps both hands together firmly between his thighs. This is deterministic nonsense. Sounds like you have read too much Freud and Darwin. A pleasure principle that I suppose coaxed the single cell into choices based on either pleasure or pain. Much like rational choice theory, it is a nice idea, but only covers a small percentage of the topic at hand. You, as a scientist, and a supposedly renowned one at that, should be aware how reductionist such an explanation for the origin of all perceptions on reality it is. Pleasure and pain are the only choices anyone truly cares about, Dr. Clark. Reductionist as it may be, so is saying the sun is the reason life on Earth continues, or that the universe is expanding. Until all the complexities have been combed through, all the empirical evidence and so on, it is easy for anything to sound reductionist. This supposes there is a plethora of complex data that your rational choice theory on a macro scale, so much it encompasses all of the sentience that exists. Dr. Langford stands and inspects the splattered blood and chunks of miscellaneous flesh strewn around the room through the glass. His reflection is that of the devil. Hollow, lifeless eyes with no empathy. Evil as the man is, could he really be right? The battle of moral extremes is one that is consistently told and always prophesied that good shall win. Could this personification of grim indulgence, the morbid voyeur, truly be the protagonist? These are questions that George laments, as to him life has always been in acts. The peak of the pendulum swing is where it matters most. The draw before the push. It is all about momentum through the struggle, until a resolution rears its head just long enough for those worthy to catch a glimpse, and desperately plead to those who did not that it indeed exists.